What's going on, peeps? All right, so look, there's a handful of things going on all at one time that I want to bring to your attention. Apparently, a couple of things started moving around last night, and I'll show what I'm talking about. But anyways, look, there's our favorite person right here. This is Miss Blacksheart. She is the representative for Iraq at the United Nations, and so she's been, I told you, spent a lot of time with Barzani, which is good. So we are very close, it looks like, to ending the negotiations. I'll get to that in a minute, but I wanted to show this to you. So cryptocurrencies have been stagnant for the last couple of weeks. If anything, they lost a little bit of value, but overnight something happened and they all jumped up. Ethereum was down to 227 probably about 3 or 4 days ago, and it's now back up to 242. XLM was down a whole whopping 1 cent. Now it's almost at 8 cents. So there's definitely this July push. We heard lots of rumors about the July push. And then look at now, XRP is back almost up to 20 cents. Anyways, there was a lot of talk about a July push, and we're already on the 8th of July, and it's finally now starting to kick in. Okay, so I know a lot of you brought this to my attention in the group, and I'm telling you, I have a link in the description for those of you who've never bought cryptocurrencies. You can follow the link, it'll take you to Coinbase. But if you're going to invest in cryptocurrencies, you can't invest emotionally because they are volatile. They go up and they go down. They go up and they go down. And people panic and they sell when they go down. Trust me, I learned the hard way. Whenever they go down, that's when you want to buy. Just leave them alone and keep watching them rise. But there's a mad push right now for cryptocurrencies. I heard there's a lot of rumors where countries are now forcing people into cryptocurrencies. That could be what's going on here, only because they're trying to go cashless. Also, I told you guys, don't be surprised if you don't start seeing some type of artificial pump in the market in an effort to try to drive down the value of gold and silver. Obviously, before the market is opening, gold has went up slightly. Silver is going up as well. You could see silver's almost at $19 an ounce. It's making a push, and gold is as well. But don't be surprised with the push on cryptocurrencies and the push on here that you don't see some kind of slight dip in gold and silver, although they haven't been able to control it very much, in my opinion. A quick reminder, everybody, that we have the hidden things in front of your eyes. Okay, it's a second group that I have. In here, we talk about all the political things, current events. If you're going to talk about Trump, bring it in here, the whole 9 yards, okay? It's free to do so. I will leave a link in the description. For our investments, and our investments only, come in here, which is Pimpy's investment chat. That's what's called investment chat. And we do talk about NESARA in here, but I think that's where the crossover is. When we talk about NESARA, it is also politically driven. So in here is where we just want to talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, stocks, foreign investments, things like that. Don't bring anything political in here because I have to remove those posts. Bring them over to here. There's a link for both of them inside the description. Both of them are free to join, and you're welcome in both groups, okay? So just a quick reminder, this is the political group, all right? So come join us in there. So here's an article that I like because I like the way they're wording it. That doesn't mean it's accurate, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. A new Kurdish negotiation delegation arrives in Baghdad next week, all right? So the regional's negotiation delegation will arrive in Baghdad next week to complete, I like how they use that word, next week to complete the negotiations between Baghdad and the region in the outstanding files between them after they made a tangible progress in the previous meeting, stressing that the delegation of the region provided everything that was requested by Baghdad, including information on oil and export contracts, is awaiting the option of Baghdad in the next meeting. So it looks like one half of our team here is done everything they need to meet them halfway. Let's hope that Baghdad meets them the other half of the way. Again, I'm anticipating that Kurdistan and Iraq have their differences ironed out before Al-Qademi comes here. For those of you who don't know, yesterday I did a report. One of Al-Qademi's closest friends was murdered. He was assassinated, and it was believed it was meant to send a message to Al-Qademi. Unlike our political figures here who are very protected, I remember in Afghanistan when we were at war there, they started taking out some of the American appointed leaders real easy like so. Let's hope that's not the case because Al-Qademi seems to definitely be draining the Iraqi swamp. Cougar said in a statement information that the delegation negotiation region of Baghdad will arrive next week to complete the discussions of the outstanding issues between Baghdad and the region, especially in the file of oil and salaries. All right, so we know that part of the constitutional law, Article 140, these things are already in there, so I'm not sure what they're really negotiating. But nonetheless, at the very bottom here, it says all files and the agreement will take place between Baghdad and the region will be transferred to the budget in 2021 because of the absence of the budget year for 2020. Of course, what we're all crossing our fingers for inside the 2021 budget is the rate change itself, okay? A high-ranking delegation from the Ministry of Defense visits Erbil to agree on the return of the Peshmerga to the conflict areas. So, they've worked before. Kurdistan and Iraq have worked the borders before. They did it successfully. There was no problems. They worked the disputed areas. I showed you guys articles and we read about them where it's really important for Iraq to control their borders. By doing so, it strengthens their economies. There's a lot of black market items that are coming back and forth. A lot of things being smuggled, and it's done freely. So, controlling the borders, keeping that kind of stuff out, reduced at least, will help the economy. Okay, so a source to the Peshmerga ministry. We are expecting the delegation's visit, perhaps tomorrow, the 1st of next week. Explained that the purpose of the visit is to agree on the mechanism to redeploy the Peshmerga forces in the conflict area. Okay, so the source continued by saying that the return of the Peshmerga to the disputed areas according to the deployment schedule before 2014 and participation in filling the security void wherever it found in the solace of the region's participation in all military operations there as well. Again, this is very important. This will also help them with dealing with the armed groups and whatever, if any, remnants of ISIS are out there. So it looks to me like this would be a great, if Iraq could just get their military back together. At one time, I believe they had the world's 3rd best army. Yeah, I realize we took them out in 2 weeks, but that's not the point. They had at one time a very powerful army, and so they're going to need that to get back on their feet. So let's hope they start rebuilding. I told you guys what my hope is by the time Al-Qadimi comes over here to the United States to meet with Donald Trump, that this agreement between Kurdistan is completed, everything is ironed out. Miss Blackheart gives her blessing, and then we hear Trump request the international community to once again recognize the sovereignty of Iraq. And then we look for them to remove the restrictions off of the currency, and we'll see what happens from there. Okay, and this is just the same kind of article as up above, saying that, hey, we need to go do the borders. So constitutions would be basis for resolving disputes between Baghdad and Erbil, says Iraq Council of Ministry. All right. Again, it's a lot of these articles seem to repeat themselves a little bit, so I just save you the hassle. So the Rashid Bank announces the payments of salaries of more than 100 departments. So the payments finally went out. I told you guys what was going on. Al-Qadimi was watching my videos. Sorry, every time I try to say that real seriously, but I can't, but I'm just being silly. Obviously, he doesn't watch my videos. But what was causing the real delay in the salaries going out was the fact that they were being audited. They were trying to find out who these people were that were double dipping into the money, sometimes triple dipping. So that's what was the holdup was, but it seems to me like they are going out now. So on Tuesday, all of its branches will continue to pay the salaries of employees of the endemic State Department with their salaries with banks whose financial instruments have arrived. I love that. The immediate office of the bank stated in a statement they received the electronic payments unit delivered salaries for more than 100 departments of Baghdad and provinces, in addition to handing over the salaries of many departments that receive their salaries manually. Okay, so good. The salaries are finally out. It's about time. Okay, so there's not, we're so used to the news now being semi-positive to very positive every day that you become numb to it, and that's what I don't want to see see happen for me anyways. All these are great moves forward. Like I just said, Al-Qadimi's closest friend was assassinated in an effort to send Al-Qadimi a message. I don't think that's going to send the proper message. If anything, it's probably going to have the reverse of what they were hoping to accomplish. We're already at July the 8th. We are a couple of weeks away from Al-Qadimi making it over here to the United States. All right, so I'm anticipating a lot happening between then and now. Let's get these agreements between Kurdistan and Baghdad ironed out. In addition to that, don't be surprised if you don't see some strike forces taking out a couple of these armed groups real quick as a show of look what we could do. All right, again, the market opens here in about 19 minutes. I'm keeping an eye on, this is interesting. I heard about a super July run for cryptocurrencies. Again, you guys, if you want to buy cryptocurrencies, there's a link in my description. You can follow it. They have been stagnant for the last couple of weeks, but now all of a sudden they're taking off. This is a big jump for Ethereum. XLM has had a big jump as well. But yeah, I'm watching the market to see if it goes up. See if they try to artificially pump to see if they could get gold and silver to go down, because silver's at 18.81 an ounce and gold is already at 18.14, and they seem to be creeping up very, very slowly. Nonetheless, all right, you guys, so if you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later.